familiar face on the whistle. George
Johnny's
Clancy heading
there.
up a quartet of Irish officials this afternoon. His 54th Heineken Cup game.
More the same.
And it'll be interesting to see how that sets up in terms of Gloucester and Perpignan. He hasn't whistled many, if any, Perpignan games. Gloucester have had him on the whistle a couple of times over the last 3-4 years. Freddie Burns, big opportunity for the young man to really show his class, which by his own admission he's been struggling to return to the form that excited so many rugby followers last season, and of course took him into the England shirt in Argentina.
It's been a bit of a scrappy start. Unfortunately, Gloucester weren't able to get that contestable restart, and worryingly Matt Kvesic has gone down after that first contact. Hopefully he won't be injured too seriously, but surely a concern not just for Nigel Davis but also for Stuart Lancaster if he goes down.
Well, nobody has put more minutes into Gloucester's cause this season than that man. Thankfully, looks like he's going to get a few more minutes at least in this game.
Here is the centre. The
a real
just
out-and-out open side, which for Gloucester and for England is so valuable.
Scrum half.
Big afternoon for Gareth Evans, the Gloucester 8, making the most of that tweaked groin that Ben Morgan suffered against Saracens in the early stages. Made his name really in the sevens. Critical part of the Gloucester side that won the JP Morgan Sevens last summer, and a product of the academy as Carl Chateau, a product of the Toulouse academy, breaks away Narroway, can't find his fly half but does find Geoffrey Michel. There's Vautou, familiar face to Exeter fans, albeit he didn't play that long down in the West Country, 6 months as a chief.
And very good organisation by the Gloucester defensive line there, really pushing off the line, putting the Perpignan players under a lot of pressure. Gloucester has actually got the second best tackle completion rate in the competition, so they've worked really hard on their defensive structure and organisation.
Yes.
Number 3, you try to play while you're
I can't call them cherry and whites this afternoon, can I? The blue and pinks, that doesn't sound quite right. Certainly have improved their tackle count, although I think you have to look at their defensive record, particularly in the Premiership, and it's the second most porous defence, but behind the Warriors. Both of your former teams, of course, Tinas.
Both of my former teams, unfortunately, not having the best of seasons, both Gloucester and Warriors, but they'll be buoyed by that tackle completion, and it's now about building on that good defensive performance.
You can stand on the line. Solo keep the gap.
James Hudson, line-out organiser, trying to disrupt this first Perpignan line-out. Romain Thuram, the Perpignan hooker, does find his target, safe and secure for the home side. Guitoun trying to get the cannonball that is Sebastian Taufifenua into the game early. There's his Dan Leo.
Advantage.
Played 6 last week, but back in the second row this week.
And another Gloucester player gone down in the contact situation there.
Your shoulders are on the ground.
It looks like Bob Stewart has already had a lot of work so far in the 2 minutes this game has been going.
Elliot Stute, the man having the finger of justice pointed at.
No, his shoulders are on the ground while he was trying to still play for the ball. He must be on his feet for the duration.
There, was it? Kvesic again getting the tackle in. Here's Dan Leo, former London Wasp, of course. Actually has the Heineken Cup winners medal from his time off the bench for Wasps in that 2007 final at Twickenham against Leicester.
And Freddie Burns just going down, getting his head in the wrong place in that tackle, but it looks like he's up and moving about.
And it's going to be the first pot at goal for young Tom Ecochard, the 21-year-old scrum half, getting his opportunity this afternoon for just his 3rd start, product of the local academy. No wasted run-up for the Perpignan kicker, but it's productive, and there's 3 points on the board for the home side.
Yeah, great start by Perpignan, securing their first scrum, their first line-out, and putting Gloucester on a lot of pressure, giving away 2 defensive penalties. So a pretty positive start by the Perpignan side.
Now we'll be keeping you up to speed with the score from Thomond Park this afternoon, because as I mentioned at the top of the show, the chance for Gloucester to continue their European travels as Shane Monahan slides his way into the 22.
Great carry by Sila Pauafisi, and Gloucester really showing their attacking intent, regaining that ball from that restart and spreading it wide to both sides.
Johnny May continuing in the 13 shirt this weekend, just his second game at outside centre, but already showing that he has that running style capable of breaking the outside arm, breaking the defence of the outside arm, I should say. Just getting back to the qualification process. At the moment, there's 3 teams that will drop down into the Amlin quarterfinals from this tournament. Northampton Saints have already got one of those spots. It's the 3 best runners-up, so Northampton with 17 points already there. At the moment, Cardiff Blues have 14. Harlequins and Scarlets will likely provide one of those runners-up, so Gloucester with 9 points need to get the maximum, which would take them on to 14 points, level with Cardiff Blues. It then comes down to try-count, and by dint of getting the bonus point, they will have gone Cardiff Blues, past Cardiff Blues total. Then it'll be dependent on what Edinburgh do at Munster. Edinburgh, of course, with 12 points to start their game. So we should try and keep you up to speed with how it stands there, as the Perpignan pack unable to keep their hands on the ball. The little chip on from Dan Robson forces Perpignan to scuttle back. Oh, that pass from Tommaso Benvenuti not helping out his defenders, and Watasoni Votu, well, he's used to playing sevens.
And the Gloucester defence just not putting the pressure the kicker wanted, Robson wanted. Unfortunately, they're not able to pin down Perpignan close to the line, and Perpignan's just breaking away and getting a bit of attacking momentum going again.
Justin Pearl and Roman Taufifanua providing the possession. Here is the new fly half for Perpignan Guitoun. Played fly half apparently through the age groups, and last played it for France under-18s. Well, seeing as he's now 24, you can do the math to work out it may not be an instinctive position at the moment, but certainly Perpignan happy to make the most of his attacking flair. Here Edmonds coming through to disrupt Ekoshar's chance of getting the pass away. There is the Perpignan 10 this afternoon.
And Gloucester, through Billy Trelfry, is just slowing the ball down by keeping up Guitoun up. And unfortunately for Perpignan, that kick going just too far. But a good passage of play by Perpignan, showing their intent, willing to spread the ball nice and wide. Great offloads in the tackle, and putting Gloucester under pressure again.
Yeah, the badge of honour that is there for home sides in France may well inspire Perpignan in many ways. They've only lost 3 times at home this season, and 2 of those games have been by a solitary point. Munster, of course, we know from this competition, but Stade Francais went there and won just by the single point. That was 28-27. Clermont were the other team. So, you know, we won't use that word fortress too often, but Stade Amy Giral is used to seeing home victories. Good pressure from the Gloucester line. Gareth Evans coming in early to get his tackle in on Benvenuti, and a bit of damage to the Azzurri.
Yeah, and you can immediately hear the Perpignan crowd as soon as there's a bit of an exciting play. A couple of risks being taken by Perpignan. They get really vocal, they get really behind you, but wonderful shutdown by Gareth Evans on this promising looking Perpignan backline move. Great spot tackle by Evans just to stop the momentum going forward.
I'll tell you, they're deciding.
Good anticipation from the young number 8.
And of course, Ben Morgan on the bench there for Gloucester, able replacement when and if he does come on. So certainly not lacking in inexperience off the bench.
You can see some of the players on that graphic that aren't available to Perpignan, though some of those guys are on holiday. The likes of James Hook, who isn't actually on there. Charteris and Valmaina have actually been given the week off. It's part of the French way that there is a requirement that players have breaks during the season, and that's what's happening there. Although Tommy Allen just coming back from injury, the young Scottish Azzurri, Italian international of course now. 3 caps for Tommaso Allen, his full name. Bertrand Geary, the flanker, has got a calf injury. Richard Horton out with a hamstring, but he's hoping to be back next week, he tells me.
And unfortunately for Gloucester, losing their first attacking scrum. Just a little bit of a communication error there between Robson and Edmonds in the hooker. But luckily for Gloucester, regaining that penalty and just getting the opportunity to create an attacking platform from hopefully the line out that's going to ensue.
Dan Leo always close to the action. Big Simone, second row as he is. He's was cleared during the week to actually play in this match, having been cited for an indiscretion against Stade Francais at the end of last year.
Lovely touch finder there by Freddie Burns. His kicking confidence hasn't really been quite there this season, but that will definitely boost his confidence coming into this game with a good touch finder and a great platform now for James Hutchin, Elliot Stook to attack from.
Munster now leading Edinburgh 5-3. James Corlin's just gone over for the first try. Can Gloucester now manipulate position to give themselves a chance to cross the whitewash? Dan Robson, very impressive form recently, keeping Jimmy Cowan away from the number 9 shirt. Unable to get his hands on that first time. And here's the call from Monaghan off his shoulder, and the big physicality of the Dubliner, getting his team up over the gain line.
Very important, the Gloucester support runners are over that ball as quick as possible, but unfortunately not quick enough, and again losing position. Perpignan are really strong over the breakdown at present, and again a defensive penalty against Gloucester holding on to the ball.
Yeah, Queer Edmonds, the man wearing the red cap this afternoon. Last time Gloucester were here, as they don't find touch, Perpignan, and it's another man in a red cap, Rob Cook, trying to release Johnny May up over halfway. Again, Dan Robson unable to get clean exit from that ruck, but does get the penalty and takes it quickly.
Staying on his feet really well. This is all about recycling, getting that quick recycle. Monaghan with the pick and go.
Edmonds feeds the back line. Burns waiting for the call. It came from Jan Thomas.
Unfortunately, that attack just slowing down a little bit. But Edmonds with the strong carry. This is all about quick recycle now.
Whisked wide to James Hudson. The little offload, but it's not safe. And suddenly Benvenuti is through on a loose ball, and Perpignan have got a chance to mount effectively a counter-attack.
Great vision by Ekushard to put the little kick through. Now they've got to stay on their feet, the Gloucester defenders.
Billy Tweltre is using his bulk to clear the ball. And Gloucester have to reset their possession now inside their own 22.
Took a touch.
Forcing the box kick.
That took a touch.
But they're having the possession. It's just the composure and the execution of making sure that pass isn't forced.
Yeah, Nigel Davis will be very frustrated. They've always been able to create those opportunities, but it's the lack of execution and those attacks breaking down that will be very infuriating, very frustrating. Again, a great opportunity. Unfortunately, the offload goes a big, and immediately Perpignan shows their attacking intent and great attacking play. Ekushard with a lovely little probing kick, putting the Gloucester defence under pressure.
Edmonds can't hit Matt Cox, and the ball is there for the Perpignan front row. Akashar Guitoun throw it wide.
Here we
It's a
go,
quick
Johnny
ball.
May.
Johnny May beats Geoffrey Michel. Guitoun trying to get back at him. Great work from Johnny May, slaloming through the tackles. And there is the first try for Gloucester inside the first quarter of an hour. And Johnny May showing what damage he can do, whether he's wearing the number 13 shirt or the number 11, it doesn't matter. May on the scoreboard, Gloucester gets some momentum.
Wonderful, wonderful turnover play there by Johnny May. Great handling to pick up that ball under pressure. Quick off the mark, and this is a wonderful finish, as you'd expect from a winger. And I'm really looking forward to see his combination with Billy Twelvetrees develop in the centre. Lovely pace, strong runner, and that is a great finish, showing that his position in the EPS squad is warranted, and there's a lot of potential in this young man.
Well, it scored the critical try at Kingsholm in round one. That, of course, 5 minutes from the end. This 13 minutes from the beginning. And Johnny May looking to add, of course, to that England cap he scored. He managed to get in Argentina on that summer tour. What value he could offer Stuart Lancaster this Six Nations. Freddie Burns with the extras.
No.
Radar not in line at the moment, but 5 points on the board for the visitors and a huge boost to their confidence.
Great finish there by Johnny May, and really having the Perpignan defenders in disarray.
Taking this?
And Gloucester's been under pressure for the first 15 minutes, but what a swing in the flow of the game, and a great way to take the lead and building towards their bonus point victory if they can persist in keeping up the pressure.
Well, when you've got the likes of May and Sharples in your team, you get an opportunity to pounce on loose ball like that. You can capitalise on it, and that, you know, that will fill Gloucester with such confidence now as May gets his hands on the ball again. Cook and Monaghan waiting outside him.
Wonderful meters being made by the Gloucester team, but this is all about that quick recycle. They just got to be a bit more clinical at the breakdown, and now getting the width on the ball. And always very dangerous in the attack and the counter-attack, especially with the pace of May, Monaghan, Sharples out there. But again, holding on to the ball, and those Gloucester defenders have to be better at that breakdown, protecting the ball. And again, Perpignan is coming in and disrupting the good presentation.
I understand that you're trying to play a fast
and Gloucester psychologically trying to keep the pace on their game. We've talked about the fact that Perpignan may have nothing to play for and the shackles may be off, but psychologically, if Gloucester could get another try and dent that morale within the home camp, that could have huge impacts on the outcome of this game.
Yeah, Perpignan coming in with 13 changes, a lot of injuries, and if you can disrupt that early on, it's definitely a confidence builder. Gloucester hoping to build on that momentum from last week, consistency in selection. Nigel Davis keeping faith with a majority of his players, and this is so important in terms of that team morale, building the confidence in the selection, in the combinations, and it's so easy if you a side that's been put together in a week's time to play against a team that's high on confidence. But unfortunately, that momentum just being halted by great Perpignan defence. And as you can hear, the Perpignan faithful are really getting in behind their Perpignan team, smelling an opportunity here to put some points on the board.
Be careful, okay? Be careful.
2 6'7" towers for Roman Turan to aim for, and Letman Dan Leo and Roman Tafifanua. In fact, it's going to be Carl Chateau, the young number 8, who is the target. And here comes the first real test of Gloucester's defensive resilience. Huge pack. Perpignan have got plenty of weight behind that drive. They select forward gear, and there's very little Gloucester can do to stop them.
Turned over.
There's a turnover. Great work on the ground from Gloucester, and Dan Robson allows them to draw breath.
You fell over your own player.
Great defensive work. Gloucester been put on a lot of pressure, especially at driving maul time. Munster really hurt them last week in the driving maul, but wonderful work by the Gloucester players to really get back out of that drive, that transfer drive Perpignan put on, and creating a wonderful turnover with Robson just relieving the pressure.
Okay, guys. Be careful of the obstruction.
Romain Tarrant, formerly of Biarritz, and before that, the likes of Castres and Poe and Osh.
What are you doing, guys? He's 2 scrum halves now. Come on.
Much travelled. Well, if I say journeyman, that sounds disingenuous, but he's enjoyed his rugby life, let's put it that way.
Stay inside now.
Good protection over the ball by the Perpignan players, just inching their way forward. Another good carry by Romain Taoufifenua, monster of a man.
Hands on the ball, and the referee says that Gloucester can move up and tackle the ball carrier. Perpignan slow to release from that ruck. Now they move it out. Justin Pearl. Yatoon trying to get through the attentions of Twelvetrees and Burns, and does so. The Australian back rower comes around again to keep the move going.
Gloucester doing really well in putting pressure on Guttern when he carries the ball, just cutting off his support runners on the outside, and his reluctance to let the ball go is put to their advantage where they can put them down. But now Bortu with a strong carry, a big man to put down.
6'5" and 100 kilos coming at you down the flank. Never an easy put down for Gloucester's defenders. Now they're having to defend out the other side, and the straight line coming in from Sayani Piukala. The big Tongan showing the direct thrust that Perpignan needed. And Perpignan have got their first try and his second try of the season.
Wonderful, wonderful build-up by Perpignan. Going out wide to the flanks. Votu with a strong carry, getting the momentum going forward. Quick recycle, and Piukala with a wonderful direct line. Guton just going on the wide arc as a deception runner, and Piukala hitting that very, very hard line in, just catching out Johnny May and Freddie Burns that's committed to the previous tackle.
David Marty just teasing Burns into the contact before releasing his fellow centre there. The veteran Perpignan captain showing all his experience. Just look at that, there's the timing of the pass, opening the door for the Tongan.
Wonderful, wonderful carry, and the experience shown by Marty, and Johnny May moving in a channel to the outside centre to 13. There's a bit of experience needed, especially in the defensive, those defensive decisions that's got to be made. Guton coming on the deception line on the wide arc, just drawing his attention, and Piukala with a wonderful straightening line.
Looks good.
Michael Sharp adding the 2 points that sends his team into double figures as we approach the end of the first quarter.
Guys, just a second kicker, please. When you're chasing, make sure you don't obstruct anybody down there. Yeah, I know.
Clancy just having a word with the Gloucester defenders. Now, what's the response going to be from the visitors? Good take from Elliot Stoke.
Wonderful take, another contestable kick being put up by Freddie Burns. Spot on, and Stoke is able to get underneath it, and immediately Gloucester's back on the attack. So crucial to regain that restart, especially if you've scored points. But wonderful work by Gloucester, and they suddenly back on the attack. Monahan there with the inside pass of Freddie Burns, just trying to build the momentum and get going forward. But once again, Perpignan just able to slow the ball down at the breakdown. Johnny May, strong carry, great long and strong placement there, but that ball needs to come out quicker.
Advantage.
Perfisi not able to take it cleanly, and just invites Perpignan to mount another attack. Sharples having to bomb over to the left wing in order to cover. Look at that kick chase from Perpignan.
Wonderful bit pressure there by Perpignan.
Ball touched again.
Good chase by all three of their players, and putting Charlie Sharples on a lot of pressure, trying to kick out of deep inside his own territory. Luckily for Gloucester, the ball is ricocheted off one of the Perpignan players, and they have an opportunity to throw into the line out.
Just get a little straighter for me, okay? Don't come in the side.
Of course, no Mike Tyndall in the lineup this afternoon. He's no doubt watching this at home. Congratulations to him and Zara Phillips on the new edition. No doubt Mike is practicing his practicing mastering his one-handed nappy change already. Congratulations to the Tyndall family.
A lot of sleepless nights for Mike Tyndall in front, so best of luck with that, my friends.
Robson back to Burns, looking to manoeuvre Gloucester into attacking position, and that's a delightful kick from Freddie Burns.
Lovely kick by Freddie Burns, just changing the pace of the game, changing the attack, going for that territory, not wasting a lot of energy in that sort of middle zone, and just putting Perpignan on the back foot. Lovely, lovely territorial kick by Freddie Burns.
And this is the game management that Nigel Davis and, of course, Stuart Lancaster wants to see from Burns. We know that this is going to be, you know, the last 5-6 months of his Gloucester career before he moves on to Leicester, but now he's got to be able to produce the form that we saw last season that took him to the top, in many people's eyes, of the fly-half roster.
Yes, and in that Saxon squad to play the Wolfhounds, so, you know, be looking to build on that experience, looking to get his confidence back to earlier season form, and it is that management is very important, especially when you move up the levels and start playing high level rugby. Great recognition by him that the Gloucester attack wasn't going anywhere. They spread it to the wide channel. Unfortunately, they got stopped, lost that momentum, and with a great kick, just put the pressure back on Perpignan.
Yes, Kingsholm no doubt looking forward to England Saxons on Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock kickoff, and it's live here on Sky Sports 1 HD. If you can't manage to get down to Kingsholm, clearance from Akashar almost being charged down there.
Took a touch as
Gloucester
well.
now trying to manipulate the pressure on Perpignan to open the door for another try.
Lovely pressure there by James Hutchin on Ekashard, just putting the scrum off on a lot of pressure with his clearing kick. And we saw Ruan Pinar score against Leicester with a charge down. So vitally important that you keep that pressure. Anything can happen from that ricochet. And Perpignan with another opportunity to get out of their territory.
Chateau, safe hands in the Perpignan lineup, former France under-20 captain, just a couple of years ago. First season at Perpignan, doesn't often get the chance to get starts, but on this fourth occasion, like Gareth Evans, his opposite number, hoping for a big 80 minutes to press his claims. Shane Monaghan, foot straight in touch, thought it was going to move back, but the officials setting the line out just inside the Perpignan half.
And a great opportunity now for Gloucester to get an attack going. Great awareness by Shane Monaghan that he was on the line and being able to create that opportunity now for Gloucester. Good take by Hudson. Lovely ball off the top. Billy Twelftree with a strong run, creating that platform.
Crash ball, Charlie. Billy Twelftree sets the ball back for his team. There's Evans. Oh, just losing the ball, but that's good work. Good follow-up work from Johnny May. Burns threads it through, and again, just trying to turn up the pressure valve on Perpignan, particularly in their own line out.
And they're just denying Perpignan the opportunity to get back into the Gloucester territory, putting the pressure on them. They've got to make defensive decisions now, and Hudson, Stuke and the like can really put a lot of pressure on this Perpignan line-out. Perpignan actually with a 90% completion rate in their line-out, the best in the Heineken Cup. And again today, even though they play with a new locking combination, been very secure, 100% completion so far on their line-outs.
Stay now.
Turan hits Justin Pearl. The man who's really followed the Perpignan coach Mark Delpoux around, was at Calvisano with him, was at Bordeaux-Bègles with him as well. And the ball runs free now. Can Gloucester make something of this? Quick defensive work from Dan Leo. Mark Delpoux has made such a difference to this Perpignan side since he took Bordeaux-Bègles
back here, please,
up into the top 14 from Pro D2, and now trying to reset his old team. Perpignan used to play here as number 8, and and has brought over a number of players with him from
Both sides, set
Bordeaux.
and hold.
Camille Lopez being one, but Lopez out for the season now, and that's where the number 10 problems have escalated for Perpignan. James Hook being given the week off, as I mentioned, and Tommy Allen on his way back from injury. So through the Six Nations, with those guys being absent, it looks like Nicolas Durand on the bench this afternoon will be asked to move over to the 10 shirt. Of course, Guitoun will be on duty for Philippe Saint-André.
Big second scrum here for Gloucester.
Penalty.
Lucky to get the penalty there.
Sheared around the corner.
You can see the turf beginning to
Just
cut
sheared
up a
around.
bit. Footing
Not
not as
driving
secure
straight in and down.
as that 16-man effort would like now. Here's a marker of the way that Billy Twelvetrees wants to play. No 3 points being taken from a very kickable opportunity. It's set up for a driving line out and try time for Gloucester.
Clearly showing the intent, chasing that bonus point, 4-try bonus point win, and going to the corner to try and establish an opportunity to score their second try.
You must stay back to 10. Look to my hand. You got the front there, Picky.
Take from James Hudson. The phalanx of forwards secures the ball. Kovacic being wrestled to the ground by Chateau. But the support there. Elliot Stuck.
Now they've got to get those Perpignan players out from their side.
Clear
Matt
the
Cox
ball.
with the
Matt
strong
Cox
throwing.
driving. Blindside pulled down, just 2 metres short. Ball there for Robson.
Okay.
Burns spins it out wide to May. Cook and Monaghan waiting, and it's Monaghan who steps in. Well, the second try being well worked by Gloucester, forcing that Perpignan defence across, and in the end, the physicality of Shane Monaghan paying off to get that second score.
Wonderful try by the Gloucester players. Great break by Matt Cox to set up that breakdown, and this is wonderful hands, even though a little bit static. Johnny May, great awareness of the players on his outside, getting Cook going forward, and that's a strong finish by Monaghan, beating Votu on the inside.
You have to say, tissue paper tackling from Watasani Votu. Watch this.
Yeah, just making it too easy, showing the inside, no inside supporter. Benvenuti not following up on that inside channel, just making it easy for Monaghan to step inside and score the second try for Gloucester.
Burns to put Gloucester back in front. Good return from Freddie Burns, and his team do indeed have a 2-point lead now.
And it all stemmed from the decision by Billy Twelvetrees to go for the corner, back their opportunity, back their attack, and a wonderful finish out wide by Shane Monaghan.
And Gloucester just showing what they can do to that Perpignan defence, pulling the wingers out of position and then executing through Monaghan. His first try of the season, 7 last season, but his first one for this campaign, his third start of the season, so a good return for the Dublin-born winger, the former Rotherham man, of course.
Well executed exit strategy, exit play by Gloucester, and this is an opportunity again to counter-attack. Freddie Burns,
Advantage.
unfortunately, Hoya Edmonds just losing the ball.
Sloppy work from Gloucester, communication not perhaps what it should be. Now Freddie Burns calling for the mark. Let's just
I'm going to check.
hear what George Clancy's going to look at.
We're looking at a possible late tackle.
And Rogan in the TV truck. He's going to be called into action for the first time this afternoon. Let's hear what the call is.
There was a player taken out, please.
There's Rob Cook on his opposite number, Geoffrey Michel.
Now Rob Cook is entitled to keep his line, but it looks like he's just slightly moving off his line.
As a former fullback, can you see the half step or the intent, should I say?
Well, he'll be explaining that he was just covering up for that potential physical clash, but just looks like he's moving moving off his line and disrupting Michel in his running
15,
line.
please.
Yep. Cook is going to have a talk from Mr. Clancy. Let's have a listen.
You stepped into the player. It's a penalty against you where the ball landed in 15.
I think that assessment fairly valid, don't you?
Very, very valid and correct. Cook, as a typical fullback, doing his best to defend the line, the last line of defence, and unfortunately just stepping off his line and disrupting Geoffrey Michel in his attack. And rightly so. Gloucester being penalised, Rob Cook being penalised, and Ekashard with the opportunity to put Perpignan back in front.
This is where Gloucester have to manage their game to just not allow Perpignan to respond to Gloucester scores, and we saw it after that Johnny May try when Piacala went through. Now Monaghan's try looks to be, well, not eradicated of course, but allows the response from Perpignan from the tee for Ekashar as he chips it towards the post but bounces it off. Well, there's a reprieve for the visitors. James Hudson showing hitherto unseen kicking skills. Narrowway waiting. Did that go forward? Geoffrey Michel to Dan Leo. Leo straightens things up. The support is there from his young scrum half. The alarm bells ringing in Gloucester's camp.
Gloucester's got to work hard to get back in that offensive line now. Perpignan playing to the right.
Dan Leo showing his footballing
and
skills,
here we go,
but the
another
ball's there for
opportunity.
Matt Cox.
Another counter-attack opportunity for Gloucester. Just slowing it down now, just securing the position there.
Cox unable to release Monaghan, but not throwing a 50-50 pass, and allows Gloucester to mount this attack. Gareth Evans weighing up his options. Johnny May cuts the angle, but Gareth Evans slips the tackle. Charlie Sharples is there, but Gareth Evans doesn't need him, or does he? Sharples is there, and there is try number 3, or is it?
And it, yes, and
well, the try's given by George Clancy. He was in good position. Gareth Evans with the search, Charlie Sharples providing the support, and there's 3 tries in the bag before half-time for the visitors.
And this is looking very, very exciting and positive for Gloucester. Great counter-attack, awareness from deep that there was numerical supremacy on the outside. Unfortunately for Leo, the ball being turned over. Matt Cox establishing that good platform, and then wonderful vision by Billy 12 Trees to send out the ball wide.
Under 15, you're good.
Evans confident in that attack, looking around, seeing that Charlie Sharples has followed up. Benvenuti doing his best to keep him over the line.
Yeah.
But wonderful, wonderful finishing by Charlie Sharples. As you'd expect from any world-class winger, you've got to finish your opportunities, and a great counter-attack try by Gloucester. This is what makes them exciting and so difficult to play against.
Well, I mentioned Gareth Evans' prowess in the sevens format, and you can see the speed of the number 8 there, setting up that opportunity as Freddie Burns swings one between the posts. And, well, pretty much everything Nigel Davies could have asked for from this first half, I think, has been delivered, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've been secure in their tight phases. A slight concern in terms of their breakdown protection, but they've worked on that. But it's the recognition of space out wide, especially on the counter-attack, which makes Gloucester so dangerous. Great take on the restart there by James Hudson. So important you regain that possession, especially after you've scored points. And this is an opportunity now for Freddie Burns again to put Perpignan under pressure from that restart with a deep kick into Perpignan territory.
Geoffrey Michel trying to get outside Monaghan and getting past the tackle. Matt Cox has to cover. This last 5 minutes going up to half-time, Tinas, is critical now, you would think, for the psychological balance of this game.
No, in rugby psychology, very, very important to score just before half-time, and then whoever can get that score after half-time, after you've come out of the shed. So the next 5 minutes, crucial for Gloucester to retain that possession, to retain that pressure on Perpignan. But here again, Ekashard going for the option to kick for goal. Clearly the Perpignan faithful not very impressed with the decision, but it's an opportunity to get 3 points back and get that scoreboard ticking.
There is Evans. He must have been thinking about scoring himself. He's never scored for Gloucester's first team. He would have loved to have had just a little bit.
He would have loved to have scored, but luckily that try line fever didn't disrupt him, and he was able to look around, aware of his support, and giving it to the faster man, Sharples, the experienced try scorer, to finish off that move.
Sharples, of course, scored at the end of the first half last week against Munster. How important could that try be at the end of this first half now?
And crucial for Gloucester to get that winning bonus point if they stand a numerical chance to go through to the quarterfinals in the Amlin Cup.
Ekashar, who nailed 3 from 5 against Toulon earlier on in the season, but hasn't been able to find the target again. So there's that grounding from Charlie Sharples. Quite a record from the right winger. That's his 54th try in 136 appearances, and I don't want to appear to be too stato, but when you think James Simpson-Daniel, who's renowned as one of probably the best try scorer for the Cherry and Whites, has got 120 in 276, that's a similar strike rate.
Great strike rate, and he possessed a lot of pace, and one of the strongest weapons in any wing's armour is the speed and pace, and Charlie Sharples definitely not shy of a meter or two. But here again, Perpignan on the attack, strong ball carries, and Gloucester just struggling to put those Perpignan attackers down immediately, always gathering a pace or two on that carry.
Looks like James Hudson's gone down with a shoulder problem, but his team are going to be able to just draw breath now and try and run out these last 90 seconds of the first half.
And strong work by Matt Kvezic. He's been all over the park so far, and wonderful work there. Billy 12-3's getting the man down, and very, very low body position, strong over the ball.
Oh, did you see that headbutt come in?
Yeah, the Perpignan players are not very happy with the work Kvezic has done, and again Freddie Burns with the opportunity to get Gloucester in a nice attacking position.
I'm not sure who that was. I've got a feeling it was David Marty, but I won't be totally sure on that. But the jackling of Kvezic really doing the job for Gloucester. Yeah, there is Hudson. Problem is it shoulder or neck for the big second row, the former London Irish, Newcastle, and of course before that Bath. Yes, indeed. Back in the West Country for the 32-year-old second row.
Sorry, just something to my notice that sometimes getting in the way there, scrum half. Okay, so when you roll away, just stay down low or get out of the way completely.
Well, Gloucester fans will be happy with that scoreline as we approach half-time. They'll be happy also with the scoreline from Limerick, which reads Munster 12, Edinburgh 6. 2 tries on the board for the home side.
And important for Gloucester that Edinburgh don't get the win, and they get the bonus point victory to put Cardiff out of the Amlin Cup and keep their hopes alive of European rugby.
Well, thankfully, James Hudson
make sure you don't collapse
able to retake his place.
A sack is fine. Time on.
So, 90 seconds has ticked through. We're into the final minute of the first half.
Keep going.
Psychologically, this line out is big in terms of just being able to reinforce the confidence that Gloucester have achieved through this first 40 minutes.
Not straight, your choice.
Oh, unfortunately there for Hoya Edmonds and James Hudson, the ball not going in straight. A bit of a confidence dent. You really want this attacking opportunity to have borne fruit, but unfortunately not straight, and Perpignan gets the opportunity to relieve pressure from their 22.
Well, you don't mind if they relieve the pressure as long as they don't score. And I should think in Gloucester minds they wouldn't care if they saw the ball head into the stands, as long as they can get into the hutches with this scoreline intact.
And important for the Gloucester tight 5 to put the Perpignan scrum under pressure now. You've just lost your line out. Very good pressure there by Gloucester on the scrum. Kvezic again
bringing down Chateau, but here come Perpignan. And this is where Gloucester have to hold their defensive elasticity, holding their hosts inside their own half. Marti throws it wide to Benvenuti, but good tackling from Sharples. And Charlie Sharples whose try has made all the difference to the mindset of the visitors, gets the final tackle in of the half. 3 tries already in the bag for Gloucester. May, Monaghan and Sharples, they're in the lead. They've just 1 try away from that valuable bonus point, but victory is not ensured as yet. Happy times for the Cherry and Whites, half-time at the Stade Aimé Giral. Perpignan 10, Gloucester 19.
That Gloucester get their hands on the ball, put Perpignan on pressure and look to score that first try.
Well, Gloucester's record against top 14 teams is impressive. Just the 1 loss in the last 7. That, of course, in the Amelin quarter-final last year against Biarritz. And there is an immediate penalty to Perpignan.
And exactly not what Gloucester wanted. Sebastian Taufifenua very quick on that ball. Again, the Gloucester players just slow to react to the James Hudson catch and carry, and Taufifenua very, very strong over the ball, creating that penalty. And now Ekashard has got the opportunity to get 3 points going for Perpignan and just digging into that lead by Gloucester.
Gloucester certainly have enjoyed their trips to France recently. 3 of the 4
Low to the ground to get that.
road trips have come back with victory, but just got to be careful and execute their opportunities this final half, and if possible minimise the opportunities for the hosts. Ekashar 2 from 4 in the first half, and now 1 from 1 in the second.
And exactly the start Perpignan wanted. Again, Hudson with the carry, narrow wave the tackle. Taufifenua quick over that ball. He's a big man, low body position, and unfortunately Gloucester just lacking the technique to clear him away from that ball.
Freddie Burns with the restart. Geoffrey Michel unable to take cleanly, and Dan Robson quick to pick up on the loose ball. Now, this is the continuity that the visitors will be looking for in the second half. Benvenuti clamping himself to the ball, but Gloucester able to release it. Burns and Robson certainly showed well in that first 40. Their game management looked impressive and certainly put Gloucester into the right sort of areas when they had possession.
And it's now just about exploiting and following through on that position, but again, unfortunate that a final pass not being clinical. Hudson not being able to hold on to the ball. A strong press by Perpignan and really putting Gloucester on that back foot, and maybe just a decision there just to tighten it out a little bit, because going out wide, Perpignan's putting a rush defence on and putting the Gloucester attackers under pressure.
Feed from Ekashar. Well, he's not used to that in the top 14. I have to say, more often than not, they get away with the crooked feed still. But with an Irish referee, that's not going to be allowed, and it's given Gloucester this opportunity. Oh, Edmonds again drops the ball. Got to hold on to possession now. Build up the pressure on their hosts. Elliot Stuck certainly making the most of his game time. 9 out of the last 10 matches he started in. And for a 20-year-old second row, albeit he's still at Hartbury College, invaluable experience. 12 trees, pings it wide to Johnny May. Try scorer of the first try for Gloucester. Monaghan has to scuttle back to pick up the bits.
And the Perpignan just being able to disrupt Gloucester possession every time, especially at that contact situation. Johnny May being held up, being driven back, and unfortunately Monaghan not being able to take over and over the transfer of the ball. Good footwork initially by Johnny May, but unfortunately just being caught up a little bit high in his body position. Quitan doing lovely work, strong in the defence, and unfortunately for Gloucester, it all breaks down with the transfer again going to floor.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Another strong scrum by the Gloucester pack, putting a lot of pressure on Perpignan, having to carry the ball back into the 22, and this is now another opportunity for the Gloucester back three to counter-attack.
Well, Perpignan struggling up front in the absence now of Romain Taufifenua, being replaced by that man there wearing 23, familiar face for Gloucester fans. That's Alistair Strokosh into the second row. Not familiar territory for the Scottish international. Doing the job for his team. Here's Luke Narroway, as ever, getting down and getting dirty on that loose ball. Such Gloucester tradition for Narroway. 159 appearances in the 11 years he was in the Gloucester camp.
And Matt Kavesic doing sterling work again, getting in there in between the Perpignan attackers.
Robson and Burns trying to work position, the ricochet not working though.
No, it's accidental.
As I mentioned, for Luke Narroway, such
Kicked
a
against
big
the teammate,
afternoon.
accident,
Of course,
left
lifted
side,
the LV Cup back in 2011. It's the last silverware that Gloucester had. And on that day, the opposition captain for Newcastle, James Hudson.
So these players have got a history, they know each other well,
Let's get that.
and they'll be keen to get the bragging rights after this game.
Well, they're looking to put in another big performance for Perpignan. Comes to the end of his contract at the end of this season.
Bang! Set!
And the Gloucester 8 beginning to turn the screw on their opposite numbers. Did so against Munster really in the second half last week, and well, Messrs Stanley, Window and indeed Moriarty and Davis will be pleased with what they're seeing thus far.
Tony Window, scrum coach of Gloucester, will be very, very happy there. Jan Thomas being strong. Paulika Ion just losing his bind and his footing, going down. And the Gloucester pack yet again putting the Perpignan scrum for a second time under a lot of pressure and getting some good advantage out of it. Another great kick to touch by Freddie Burns. And let's hope the first line out in the second half goes Gloucester's way.
Now Perpignan looking to make changes. That's Georgi Genti, the Georgian prop, coming on, and also that man there, Sonata Malolo, one of the trio of Tongans in Perpignan colours this season. He'll be up against an old mate in, of course, in Sina Purfisi in Gloucester's three shirt there at the front.
Get him in line. Get him in line with you.
And Sonata Malolo not shy of scoring a try.
Up to the mark now.
One of the top try scorers in the Super Rugby a couple of seasons ago when he played for the Chiefs.
Super Rugby winner with the Chiefs, wasn't it?
Indeed, and scoring a lot of tries, especially close to the try line. Very strong ball carrier.
Ball spilling out for Robson. Matt Cox having to stay strong in the tackle, but the reception committee of two old teammates in Strokosh and Narroway stunts that attack. Vesic tries to get some momentum into it again.
The Gloucester supporters have got to work really hard so their carriers not get isolated. Cox.
Freddie Burns not with many options there, Tinas, and just a worry of getting isolated. Going to get the penalty.
No, have to work with these players.
The Perpignan defenders really pushing hard off the line, looking to win those collisions at the
number 4 offside
at the tackle. Freddie Burns
takes
quick tap and go opportunity there. Unfortunately for Billy Trollfish not being able to take the ball, but here we go.
Well, this game just building up in tension a little bit. George Clancy is going to have a word with Monsieur Chateau, the Perpignan number 8, and also I think with Purfisi.
The stainless play over here as well. Be very careful, okay? When they're cleaning out.
I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Sorry, is that a tight head prop I heard that from?
Definitely, as long as you...
Manners still in rugby, good to see.
Great to see, and Carl Chateau just charging onto Billy 12 Trees without the use of the arms. Shoulder charge, putting him down. And again, Billy 12 Trees opting for the corner. And the line out and possible drive. And Gloucester looking to score that 4th try.
I wonder whether George Clancy believes him.
Accidentally offside,
We shall see over the next half an hour or so.
Number one, you're in front. You're bound in front
Just
of
an
him.
accidental
You've got a very
drive
good
into
catch
Jan
there.
Thomas has derailed that
Accidental
Gloucester
offside.
attack.
Here's a mark over here.
And unfortunately, again, for Gloucester not being able to take that line out cleanly. Just an indiscretion at the drive,
First scrum for you.
and unfortunately that momentum breaking down,
Listen
and
to me.
Perpignan with an opportunity to relieve the pressure.
Nigel Davis, as ever, prowling the touchline,
Crouch!
working through the connotations that he can put into place if needs be in this final half an hour.
Yes.
New
Hang on a
ingredients
second,
in the
hang on.
Perpignan pack,
We're gonna have that
beginning
again,
to
hang on.
hold their own. Daniel Gugenti, the 17 there, his
Strong
first
mistake
game
initially.
back indeed for Perpignan since fracturing his wrist against Clermont at the end of November.
Listen to me. We set and hold.
Serious slab of
Set and
Georgian
hold.
prop
Not
for
set
that
and
man
push.
Mark
Come
Del
on.
Poux to
Needs to be
use.
better. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. I speak to them also. Come on, let's go.
And important, Mr. Clancy, just lay down the law for these
Yeah,
big
it's good.
fellas,
Come on. He's just to the left. It's fine.
looking for a clear scrum. Gloucester has had the ascendancy in the previous couple of scrums, putting Perpignan on a lot of pressure,
Stand up. Stand up.
and we'll see if
Come on, guys. It needs to be better.
George
here now.
Genti can deal with the
I'm just
pressure
looking
from
for
Jan
his
Thomas
bind,
and the
okay?
Gloucester
Put it down here,
tight
I'm looking
five.
for his bind. Come on,
Just
better
now,
attitude
Jan
now.
Thomas having to
Here's your
bind
man.
down against the Georgian. Slightly different physical connotations,
Yes.
I suspect.
Crouch!
Thomas, of course, able to play
Bind!
both sides. Well
Set!
aware of the features
Hold.
of loose and tight head.
Yes.
Zakashar waits to put the ball in and waits too long.
And once again, Jan Thomas strong at the loose head side. Genti going down,
Back.
and Mr. Clancy again penalising the Perpignan scrum. Very impressive work
Bind.
done by Gloucester. And again, Freddie Burns going for the corner kick. Now, this is very crucial that Gloucester can actually get that platform to attack from.
Make sure he hits the ground before he's
The
touched.
previous opportunities at the line-out has gone awry, and this is crucial
Yeah.
for the confidence to get this line-out.
So, a big line out.
Two.
We may only have 52 minutes on the clock, but this phase of play could well decide
It's you.
a lot of things both this afternoon and in future for the Gloucester side. Clear Edmonds being replaced.
Just make
Matt
sure he hits
Cox
the
has
ground
put
here
in quite a shift this afternoon, but another Tongan coming into the mix. Kanamafoni into that line out. James Hudson feeds back to Matt Kvesic. Not much support there. Eventually the drive comes in from the big Tongan. Evans trying to drive through Strokosh. Gloucester just a metre away from the bonus point.
Going with the pick and drive, Kvesic strong on his feet. Important that the Gloucester support around this pick and drive area. It's got to be on the attacker very, very quickly.
Elliot Stoop trying to come round the corner, the ball going loose. Jan Thomas doing well to pick it up with Tamalolu on his back at the same time. Robson spotting opportunity, feeds out, Monaghan going for two. Gloucester have got four and they've got the try bonus point, and we've still got 27 minutes to play. Well, great work from Dan Robson, spotting the opportunity, letting the forwards carry on muscle around the fringe, but then seeing Shane Monaghan one-on-one, and the Irishman has nabbed the bonus point. There we go, stepping inside Echoshart. A physical mismatch if ever there was one, and it's paid off for the visitors.
Wonderfully taken try again by Monaghan, recognising that there's a mismatch against Echoshard and against the flow of the play, going blind, giving the winger, the big winger, the opportunity to score a wonderfully taken try. And that's the brace for Shane Monaghan. That's the 4-try bonus point for Gloucester.
I think they're just looking to see whether that ball edged forward as it dropped down before Jan Thomas picked it up. Certainly went back 2 phases. There's the drop. Did it come off a hand or off a knee?
As long as that ball movement is going backwards or downwards, it shouldn't be a problem. Can't really see on that angle.
There's the ball hitting the knee. Impossible to tell whether it went forwards or backwards.
Go ahead.
All the Gloucester armchair fans are hoping this is going their way, and it is. Gloucester have hit their first target. That's 4 tries. Now they've got to make sure they hold on to this lead for the next 25 minutes or so, and it will be job done because their European travels will not be finished for this season.
Okay. Okay. It's 15.
Again, you'd see the vision and the awareness by Shane Monaghan. Great communication to Dan Robson, letting him know that he's got that opportunity to score a try.
Freddie Burns corrects his kicking radar in some style. And now this game,
15.
you would think, is now within Gloucester's control
15.
as to the outcome. It's a long way off. But Shane Monaghan only came into the European reckoning when Akabusi Ngera left for Toulouse and was deregistered. But my goodness me, Nigel Davis and co will be happy with that adjustment. So Nicolas Durand now into the fray, just recovered from a concussion. There was concern during the week whether he'd be able.
Stay here.
Better intensity there by Gloucester to protect the breakdown. Immediately opportunity again to tack wide.
Advantage. Still
And
advantage.
unfortunately,
No advantage coming, knock on here.
Monaghan
Scrum white ball.
just losing that ball, but a great awareness, spotting the opportunity, the space out wide. But unfortunately for Gloucester, just breaking down with the final pass.
Okay, tactically, Tinas, Gloucester
Right
have
here.
got the 4 tries. They're not sure what that man Mark Del Pux is going to do as he rings the changes from the bench. He's now got more than half an eye on Grenoble next week back in the top 14. Tactically, what do Gloucester do in terms of their game plan? Do they continue with the way that they've been playing? Do they tie things up a bit and just make it more structured? How do you think it's going to go for the final 25, 26 minutes?
Well, this is where a lot of the pressure is going to be around Freddie Burnage and his game management. The momentum is going really well in terms of Gloucester. The way they play are working. So I wouldn't see any reason why they should change their attacking approach. But Freddie Burns and the decision makers, Billy Twelfees in the back line, has got to make the call. If they're not getting that forward momentum, get down deep into the Perpignan half and put them under pressure. Perpignan just struggling a bit to get out of their own territory, and you don't want to give them the opportunity to start building and get their noses back in the game.
Now the introduction of Nicolas Durand will mean he goes into the fly half role, and Guitoun presumably will go into the full-back spot. Guitoun, as I mentioned, joint top try scorer in the top 14. 9 times he's been over the line. Shares that with Bordeaux Begle's Fijian flyer Talambula.
And this is what you want to do when you are Gloucester. Strong press from the line on that offensive press. Freddie Burns getting off the line, putting Perpignan under pressure, and because they're going backwards, the pass not spot on for Benvenuti. He's forced to make an error, and again Gloucester has the opportunity from a scrum just inside their own half.
Come on, let's go.
Well, it's been a good trip so far for the Cherry and Whites fans. It's certainly looking very good. Munster leading Edinburgh now 19-6, with Conor Murray going over for their 3rd try. Just to reiterate, 3 drop-down teams, so to speak, into the Amlin Challenge quarter-finals. We know that those quarter-finals will be hosted by Bath, Stade Francais, Sale and probably London Wasps. They're playing this afternoon. And we know that it's going to be Bath against Brive in one of the quarter-finals. We also know that Northampton have got one of those 3 drop-down spots. Harlequins or Scarlets will provide the second one, and now it's down to the third. Now, if Gloucester stay with this win, having got the bonus point, they knock Cardiff Blues out of the equation. The only other threat then is Edinburgh, and Edinburgh, as I say, down at Thomond Park. So it's all looking rosy for the Cherry and Whites at the moment, but they have to hold on to victory now to make sure that they get the 5 points from this game, as Johnny May looks to release Rob Cook. Monaghan sniffing out a hat-trick possibly. No tries this season up until today. Ball goes loose and it's fed out from Piukala. There's Perez on to replace Dan Leo into the back row.
Okay. Ball was off.
And now Perpignan with the counter-attack, turning over that ball after a very positive-looking Gloucester attack. Strong defensive work by Evans, just slowing that Perpignan attack down at the breakdown, and they've got to restart from slow ball.
And it is slow ball for Perpignan. One wonders now on their mindset. As I say, they're 11th in the top 14 at the moment. That's just 5 points above the drop, above the Basque boys, Bayonne and Biarritz. Well, mind you, the concerted table that is the top 14, they're just 6 points below 6th place. So if they can get some form going in the second half of the top 14 season, who knows what's possible. They certainly started well, then had a run of 7 consecutive losses through November and December, which dropped them back down. Their away form not being particularly clever, just the one victory to Biarritz, and as I say, they go to Grenoble next week, right next to the Alps there. They've also got to visit Montpellier and Toulon away.
Okay, so I'll make sure he gets clear, and you get the bind. Okay, I'll speak to him now.
So plenty of work for Marc Delpoux to do in domestic competition.
Yeah, you're gone.
One wonders what Perpignan are going to provide in the last 20 minutes of their European campaign.
And just a clever little kick by Nicolas Durand, just replacing Guiton at the pivotal position, and just that slight attacking focus, putting 12 trees under pressure. And this is an ideal opportunity now for Perpignan to try and cut into that Gloucester lead.
Crouch! Bind!
Dan Murphy into the front row battle.
Again, a good scrum by Gloucester, getting that left wheel, which makes it so much easier for Matt Kvezic and the rest of the defenders to put pressure on the Perpignan attack.
Concern for Philippe Saint-André and Marc Delpoux as Guitoun goes down rather suddenly. Problems with that left ankle. He has had huge problems previously with a knee problem. Kept him out for 8 months last season.
Yes, come here.
But just looking here as the turf gave way, there was the problem, I think. Or was it there? Certainly dropped before the contact from Freddie Burns.
Number 3.
Worryingly for all of the international coaches in these final weeks of European rugby, building on their Six Nations campaigns. That's due to start shortly, and you do not want to see one of your starters go down with injury at this stage.
Certainly of the 5 top 14 players selected for Scotland, Strokos of course one of them, Charteris and Hook for Wales, and that man Guitoun is supposedly going to be going down to the south coast tomorrow to join up with the French camp, along with Sebastian Varmahina, who's actually been on holiday this week. Looks to me like he's rolled that rather than twisted it, just from his reaction, but concern for Marc Delpoux, as indeed for Philippe Saint-André.
Crouch!
They'll be monitoring him, no doubt, over the next 24 hours or so. Of course, the likes of Billy Twelvetrees, Johnny May, Matt Kvezic and Ben Morgan will be joining up at Pennyhill Park with England tomorrow. As and when they get back.
Again, the Gloucester defence really pushing off the line. Malolo not given any opportunity to get that big frame going. Really cutting down the space for the Perpignan attackers, forcing them inside for the stronger defenders.
Burns flapping high on Duran, but it's not going to stop Narroway. Tarrant just having a go at Sean Knight there. Quite sure what happened off the ball, but Perpignan continuing to play. Strokos.
Great presentation.
Sets it back. Narroway looking at options, trying to drive through the gap. But Evans and Kvesic doing the job. Perpignan threatening Ekashar with the offload, and it's Chateau who has got Perpignan's second try. And Gloucester are going to have to be careful here that the fires don't begin to burn again for Perpignan. They've been reduced to embers when Monaghan went over for that fourth try, but Perpignan at home will be looking to produce something for their home fans. They will not give victory away meekly, and Chateau with the try. Good work from Ekashai. Really has been a man desperate to keep the tempo going for his team. There is Guitoun looking a little forlorn, it has to be said.
Speak to number 19 for your team.
And a lovely little run around by Ekashar, just pulling Rob Cook out of the defensive line.
Time is running now.
Chateau with a lovely support run on the inside, and Gloucester just not having any defenders there, and over they go for a well taken try.
Yeah, right there.
Guitoun just looking a little despondent, understandably, as he watches from the sidelines. Brought to Perpignan as a replacement for Jérôme Porrecal, the popular Perpignan fullback who went north to Stade Francais a couple of seasons ago. Ekashar. 3 from 5 so far. Looking to bring it in, but again bouncing it off the post. That's the second one that's come off the woodwork.
5. And what's the other number?
Again,
Too wide.
More changes being made for Perpignan as Romain Tarrant is replaced by Maxime Delonca. There's Will James coming into the engine room for Gloucester. His experience now could prove to be very important. There's Maxime Delonca, the replacement hooker for Perpignan. Lots of transfer activity, of course. It's silly season already in the top 14, as Burns again doesn't allow his forwards to get onto the ball and gives possession back to Perpignan. Well, we may be only in the middle of this second half, but suddenly the swing of the game is just moving back into the middle of the barometer. And Gloucester are going to have to be careful now. As Delonca shows a little bit more of his personality than we might like to see. The kick from Durand forces Charlie Sharples back.
Keep retreating out, now stop.
An opportunity here for Perpignan to counter-attack.
Benvenuti, Italian international, moved from Treviso this season to try and improve his game.
Stop, 16.
Robson with a good kick, and that is a great kick from Dan Robson. Playing at scrum half, of course, for Gloucester, but also has played at fly half, both for Hartpury and for England age groups, and my goodness me, his forwards will be delighted to see that one going to touch.
Great decision and great execution by Robson. Lovely taken kick. And just putting Perpignan on the back foot.
Number 8.
And the Gloucester forwards will breathe a sigh of relief that they have an opportunity now to put Perpignan further under pressure. But great vision, looked up, saw acres of space, and a wonderfully taken kick.
There's a mark.
Just to bring Gloucester back into that territory after they've been under a period of sustained pressure by Perpignan.
Okay, yeah, come on.
As we see, Guitoun, the despondent Perpignan fly off, making his way off. More changes. Will James giving a More of a bear hug to Luke Narroway than he was happy with, and I think the referee was happy with. As I say, the Perpignan side already know that the likes of Almahina is heading for Clermont and Guillaume Guirado is going to Toulon. They've already announced, though, this week that Massi Matadigo, the Racing Metro number 8, former Saracens and Montpellier number 8, he's heading to
Number 19 in the side. Okay,
join the Blood and Golds for next season. Similarly, Clermont hooker Benoit Cabello and Biarritz prop Jean-Philippe Genevois. Virgil Bruno coming in from Toulon as well. Gloucester, of course, have announced that their front row will consist of John Afoe and Richie Hibbard. Samo Tomalolo. Not sure whether he's going to still be in Perpignan colours next season. They've got to change a forwards coach as well. Gianpiero De Carli, the forwards coach, is going to rejoin his former boss Jacques Brunel with the Italian national side.
And again, from that turnover, Robson just putting Perpignan back deep into their own territory, just stopping all momentum. Great turnover created by Gloucester, and suddenly they're back deep in Perpignan territory, and it's just taking the wind out of the sails really on this Perpignan attack. They're desperate to get a home win.
Look to my hand.
Not anything really left in this European campaign for them, but they'll be looking to get a home win.
Yeah, good.
You know, they're so proud about their performances at home, and the Perpignan faithful won't be happy with a home loss.
I think it was that man Jimmy Cowan that actually put them into position, but it's Sona Tomalolo who's bursting away from the Perpignan 22. His fellow countryman Kirkala holding on to the ball, but short of halfway. Gloucester setting their line, trying to keep the pressure on their hosts inside their own half. Akashar letting his forwards do it, do the hard yards. Jean-Pierre Perez. Ball goes loose. Gloucester take possession. Cowan spots an opening.
Great offload there.
Good
getting
hands.
The ball out wide.
Swings the ball out to Johnny May. May getting through the tackle of Justin Pearl. The experience of Jimmy Cowan could well prove to be critical through these last 12 minutes or so. 12 trees to nobody in particular. And Shane Monaghan has to come up and pick up the bits along with two Perpignan tacklers. Well, Gloucester have done that well. They keep that ball back on their side. Freddie Burns again looking for that diagonal kick and again getting huge territorial advantage.
Really good decision there by Freddie Burns. A very mature decision there. Good game management. Just recognising that the Gloucester attack has broken down. A loose pass to Monaghan, not going forward. Perpignan going forward under defence, and a wonderfully taken kick by Freddie Burns, just pushing Perpignan back into their own territory. And it will be very disheartening for the Perpignan that they're not getting the positive result they wanted.
Well, the last time Gloucester visited the Stade Amiens was back some 11 years ago when Huir Edmund's brother Manny got the man of the match. And of course you played in both of those games. I hate to call you a veteran, Tinas, but it does seem a long time ago. It's a very special place to go play rugby, but Gloucester playing the right type of rugby just to quieten the crowd as Charlie Sharples makes a hash of that kick and really didn't want to kick the ball away flippantly there to give Perpignan the opportunity to mount a counter-attack. Ben Morgan trying to disrupt, but it is one of those unique places to go, a real bear pit of a stadium.
Yeah, and the Catalan crowd really getting behind their team, very, very vocal. These French players are very different animal when they actually play at home. And I remember a very, very long time ago, we played them back to back. We were able to get the win at Gloucester, turned up the following week, and it was a very fired up Perpignan team that turned us over. But the crowd really special. They're very, very vocal, really getting support of their team, and it's always a difficult place to go and play.
Well, at the moment, all you can hear is Gloucester fans doing their bit to be the 16th man 10 minutes left to decide whether Gloucester are going to stay in Europe this season, albeit in a different tournament. Of course, it's a tournament that they know all about, having lifted the trophy in 2006. Do you remember that game against London Irish after extra time? It was quite an incredible game at the Twickenham Stoop. Was that 36-34, I think? It was only a couple of points in it.
Yeah, Gloucester with really good success in the Amlin campaigns, and of course another opportunity, if they can win it, to play in the Heineken Cup. Been very impressed with the Gloucester scrum. They've been putting the Perpignan scrum under a lot of pressure, getting a lot of mileage out of it, but unfortunately just a bit of a timing mistake there, and Perpignan with the quick take, and they're back on the attack.
Strakosch trying to set position for Perpignan on halfway. Duran out to Benvenuti. Votu, always a dangerous ball carrier. Watasoni Votu.
Great work by Rob Cook, getting over the ball. Nice, strong, low body position, and the Perpignan attackers not being able to clear him off. But you know, that's the value of a fullback, an outside player that's willing to put his body on the line, recognizing that the ball carrier Votu is exposed, is isolated, and doing some brave work to get low over that body.
Correct.
And credit to Johnny May as well for derailing him in the first instance.
Yeah, Monaghan just hitting out of the line, trying to snaffle the attack right before that final pass to Votu. Johnny May tracking back, lovely tackle down on the ankles, getting him low. And that's so crucial. If you go low, you get that man down, which allows the second man in the opportunity to get low of the ball and to create the opportunity for the penalty.
How many? 5. Yeah.
So benches have been emptied. Now it's down to resolution and resolve and concentration, you suspect, for Gloucester. Maybe confidence is a little brittle after what's happened over the last few weeks, but form on the road, of course, has been good. The last 2 away games at Edinburgh and London Irish. Oh, and they're looking for the arm to go up, and that is a lovely 3 points. And the smile on Freddie Burns' face says it all.
Wonderfully taken drop kick by Freddie Burns. Just getting into that Perpignan territory, and it's just a slap in the face. Yes, we get in your territory, keep putting you under pressure, and just extending that lead to 11 points now.
I'm not sure whether those guys are intending to be back for work tomorrow. I suspect not. But one thing I'm pretty sure is they're going to have a good evening. That's an 11-point buffer that has a little more security to it now.
Carried back in.
As Freddie Burns looks at the other corner. Benvenuti himself made such an impact on the Heineken Cup when he made his debut for Treviso. I was there at the Stadio Comunale de Monigo against Leicester, a couple of tries back, what was some three and a bit years ago now, and was very much the golden child of Italian rugby. Hasn't really pressed on like I'd hoped, but that's why he's moved to Perpignan to try and improve his game. Femi Maffei, known as Larry Murphy to all of his Munster fans, who no doubt are screaming at Thomond Park now because Munster leading 31-6. So that looks like Munster have done their part of Gloucester's weekend plan.
Off the feet. Hey.
Again, Genty, very close. And nobody is going to want to come between Dan George and Gerald Genty. In fact, was it Dan Murphy or Dan George? I'm not sure, but it involved that man there.
Captain.
And Dan Murphy just being penalised, going off his feet, working really hard to get back on his feet after the tackle, but unfortunately getting off his feet and being penalised, giving Perpignan the opportunity to kick, for the line.
The discipline needs to be better.
Nick Durant will be going for as much distance as possible to see whether they can create anything from the line-out. Of course, they've had a very successful line-out completion, and they'll be hoping to set something up.
It'll be kicks like that. Freddie Burns pulling it in. Oh, and looking for a counter-attack. Well, here's ambition. Do they need it, Gloucester? Well, when you've got Johnny May, I suppose anything is possible. May zigzagging his way through, Stuck providing the conduit. Charlie Sharples puts his foot in the accelerator. Sharples going for glory. Benvenuti across though. Well, Freddie Burns, we talked about refinding that spark, rekindling the imagination. We've seen it this afternoon, and there was testimony to it.
Yeah, and it's all about combinations. These guys have been playing together for quite a few seasons. Freddie Burns got the confidence to spread the ball wide from deep because he's got Johnny May working his way back to Charlie Sharples with the pace, and a desperate cover defence by Benvenuti to get the ball out. But again, great attacking intent by Gloucester, and really showing that in the second half of this Premiership season that they are willing to play, and a lot of expected of them in the Premiership. But first of all, their chances and hopes are alive in the Sandland Cup, in the European campaign, and it bodes well for them if they show that attacking intent and the willingness to give the ball the air and attack from wherever they are on the field.
Duran getting the left knee of Johnny May into his temple. Duran in his second spell at Perpignan, actually on a season-long loan from Toulon. But a valuable commodity in that he can play in both half-back positions. There's May and Stuck releasing Sharples, suddenly putting his foot to the floor, but Benvenuti anticipating well. Line out though for Gloucester. Jens Torf, the Belgian. There's not many Belgians in European top-flight rugby. He's on into that back line for Perpignan. Will James, pick and drive from the Welsh international.
Good meters made.
Gloucester will be happy if they can spend the next 3 minutes in Perpignan's 22, whether it comes to another 5-pointer or not. Just to wind that clock down now.
Gloucester attack, keeping nice and close with the pick and drives. Just fighting for those inches.
You get the feeling the Gloucester forwards have rediscovered their mojo over the last couple of weeks.
They're just getting that confidence, and that all stems from the success they've been having in the set piece.
Cullen throwing a pass to Cook, but he had to change angle on, and I think the officials are just going to have a look at something here. Let's have a listen.
Can you check for foul play at the side of this rock, please?
All beginning to kick off a little bit around the breakdowns and off the ball, and something that George Clancy thinks he's seen there. That last ruck, let's have a look here. Is it on this near side? It was Genty again and Will James.
Just a couple of swinging arms there by Genty. Not connecting at all, but it's the intent. Clearly not happy about anything. Will James just having him there around the collar and not happy with the attention from Will James.
Well, Genty has not been on that long, but he has been rugby phosphorus, hasn't he? Open him up to the air and suddenly he goes. Now what's going to happen here?
Okay.
Alan Rogan talking to George Clancy.
So there's going to be... Okay, I'll take it from here then. Number 17.
It is the Georgian prop.
The first penalty is against them for holding this player. But then he responds by trying to throw a punch.
There's a card coming. What colour is it? It is yellow. Well, Perpignan have got one of the worst defensive records in the top 14. Well, the second worst after Grenoble. That's the 24th yellow they've received this season, and it really has been a problem for Mark Delpux throughout the season. Yes, there was a pull on his shirt, but Genty swinging haymakers at Will James, highlighting the problem. And now Gloucester up against 14 men for the final couple of minutes. The forwards must be licking their lips.
Yeah, great call by Billy 12-3, calling for the scrum. Just losing the prop. They've had the ascendancy in terms of pressure on the Perpignan scrum in the second half. And a good call to give the big fellas an opportunity to really get stuck into the Perpignan scrum. Up against 14 men now, and they'll be really looking to assert the pressure up front.
Palika Eon coming onto the park for these final couple of minutes to allow this scrum to take place.
Of course, opening up a lot of space now for the backs, the dangerous backs of the Gloucester backline, as one of the Perpignan backs had to go off, so that the replacement prop Eon can come back on.
Set!
Cowan puts in, Morgan holds and waits for the momentum to shift, the impulse to go for that line. Is he there? I think he is. Ben Morgan has got the try that seals the deal for Gloucester, and what a good afternoon it's been for the West Country team. The England number 8 holding the ball at his feet, waiting for the moment. There's the pick, there's the drive, stretching out his 6'3" frame to nab his first try of the season.
Great control by Ben Morgan at the base of the scrum there. Eckershard all over his back, but being able to control the ball, great pick up and score, and it all comes from very, very strong pressure by the tight five, by the scrum of Gloucester on the Perpignan front division. And Ben Morgan taking a well-deserved try, and the Gloucester forwards will be very happy with that well-worked try.
Well, 11 points for Freddie Burns as well. It's all suddenly gone Gloucester's way. The smile is back on Freddie Burns' face. The smile is back on the Gloucester fans as they realise their European travels are not finished for this.